Yo, what is up guys, Grim here, and in today's video I'm going to show you guys my favorite and most enjoyable strategy I've discovered so far in the Sentinel League, and that is what I like to call Robo Legion. So it's no secret, I'm a bit of a Legion nut, but Sentinel just has the perfect synergy with Legion, and I'm going to show you exactly why and also how to set it up and what you'll need. But first, of course, if you're enjoying the content and you want to see more, make sure to chuck the video a like, and of course subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Alright, so this is a fairly advanced strategy. You need a character who is capable of clearing legions, but not only that, effectively clearing them, because you're basically going to be fighting against empowered legions. That is the idea behind the strategy. So overall, a lot of people are obviously having a lot of success with Sentinel. However, the Pandemonium Sentinel is not getting the respect it needs, and also is not really being used that efficiently. At least I wasn't using it efficiently. And the reason for that is it's just incredibly hard to have 200 or more enemies lined up on your screen without them killing you or some way or another. Now, you might notice I do have an XP bar and I'm almost going to get to level 99 soon. But overall, this is the perfect utilization of the Pandemonium Sentinel, and we also get full value out of the Red Sentinel alongside perfect value out of the altars, the Eldritch altars. Okay, so let's dive in. Let's talk a little bit about the strategy. We will be covering the Atlas passive tree, the controller, the Scarab setup, and everything. But I want to show you guys what it looks like to clear a map first. Okay, let's dive in. Ooh, Fizz Reflect, that looks a bit spooky. But anyway, let's get in there and I'll show you guys what the strategy looks like and how it plays and what kind of loot you can expect to get. And then we'll talk a little bit more about the advance. So whenever I get in the map, Mr. 100C sale. Whenever I get in the map, you immediately pop the Stalker Sentinel and, get whatever movement speed charges you need. And basically what you're doing here is you're just running around trying to burn up all your charges on your Stalker Sentinel, and then you want to make your way straight to the boss. Now, this is where the map comes into play. You can do this on a number of maps, which I'll talk about in a second here, but there is a few where it's far easier, and this one is one of them, Dunes. Okay, so now our Stalker Sentinel is fully used. Next thing we want to do is find a Legion pylon, which we've got one here. And you want to pop the Legion, but wait for it to fully activate before you do anything. Now, we're going to pop this Legion, and as it fully activates, boom, we're going to hit our Pandemonium Sentinel, and you can see the lightning shocks the entire Legion. It's shocked even all the way over here. Now, this Pandemonium Sentinel I'm using right now has around 250 charges, and I've counted, Legions have anywhere between 150 all the way up to 350 monsters, depending on how big the Legion is and the layout of the map. Now you can see here that we have a ton of enemies that we've just slain. We've got a bunch of loot. It is more than your usual Legion by a significant margin, and that is because of the empowerment mechanic. But not only that, there is a few other mechanics at play here, which I'll explain in just a second when we get to our second Legion that we're going to pop here. But you do get an absolutely ridiculous amount of loot from this strategy, and there's a lot of stuff going on here which I cannot wait to explain to you. We're going to pop this shrine here, and we've cleaned out this full Legion here, which is just great. We've got a bunch of loot that we can pick up here, but we're not going to do that because that'll delay the video. Okay, so why is there so many Astra galleys, exotic coins, and everything like that, when the thing I'm using here only has a 2.6% chance? Well, the reason for that is that higher rarity enemies have a higher chance to receive a reward tile on their head. Don't ask me the details, I don't know the details, but that is a fact. Unique monsters, rare monsters, and magic monsters have a much higher chance of receiving a reward. Now, what is one of the best places that you can get a ton of rare monsters? Legions. Ton of magic monsters, legions. And also you have all of the fish in a barrel. You can just shoot them with that Pandemonium Sentinel. They're not going to be able to move because they're in stasis, and they retain the empowerment effect even while they break out of stasis, which is really good. So essentially it's like a no risk strategy. You can shock the entire Legion. They're all empowered. You get more rewards than normal from your Sentinel. And in addition to that, there's so many monsters there that you get full utilization out of your Pandemonium Sentinel. It's completely crazy. Now, in addition to that, some people might know that in the trailer, they mentioned that you can multiply the reward on top of a monster's head if you have enough empowerment. Now, this actually seems to interact quite weirdly with Legion, because Legion monsters already have rewards on their head. The sergeants and the generals, and a lot of the monsters just have a ton of rewards on their head, kind of like that's where the original kind of reward tiles started. Now, when you empower these monsters, it seems to, in some cases, create an effect where that reward icon becomes larger, which, when described by Chris in the trailer, meant there was multiple rewards coming out of that enemy. Now, in my opinion, this means that you're applying additional rewards to already existing reward tiles on these Legion monsters' heads, which is pretty crazy from my perspective. And that does seem to be how it works. I've noticed Legion tagged monsters dropping multiple incubators where they're only meant to drop 2, and they can drop 4 and sometimes even more. And overall, it is quite powerful, and it's quite a show. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and pop this Legion here. We'll get through it as well, and we'll kind of show it off a little bit more. So we're going to pop the Legion, electrocute them all. There we go. You can see they're all zapped. And we're going to just quickly make quick work of this. Oh, Dunes is so much better than Cemetery, I gotta say, man. A little bit less money, but overall, it just feels so much nicer to play, and it's so much easier to crack the Legions on this map. Okay, so we should be just about good here. Looks like I've missed 1 or 2 mobs. There we go. So we're going to bust all this out here. As you can see, it does get quite crazy. Oh man, woo, okay. I would definitely recommend an inspired learning for this, as the mobs can get incredibly tanky, especially if you're using an ancient Pandemonium Sentinel. We'll talk a little bit about that here in a second. But you can see there's just an absolutely massive amount of loot on the floor, just everywhere. And you can get quite a lot of juice from this. Okay, I'm not going to run around here and do everything, but you guys get the point. There's a ton of Astrogales everywhere, a ton of juice. It's pretty good. You're going to make quite a lot of money doing this, no doubt. Okay, so now it's going to be time for me to explain the strategy to you. Now, I'm going to leave all this loot on the floor. Hopefully my map doesn't crash, but we're going to go out and we're going to talk about the setup here, because it's pretty important, and you're going to want a specific Sentinel tree, and you're going to want a specific Atlas passive tree. Okay, let's dive in, first of all, to the materials. Now, the materials you're going to need for this strategy, and the ones that I'm using, you can definitely take it further. The ones I'm using are 1 stack of Sacrificial Fragments, a Polished Legion Scarab, at least you can do Gilded, Rusted Elder Scarabs, or whatever rarity you can get your hands on, and I'm using Carto Scarabs because right now maps are hot, 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 very hot. My god, that's very burning. That's how hot they are, man. They sell fast, and they sell expensive and in bulk. So right now, Carto is a no-brainer from my perspective. You're never not going to make money off it, and you see just how many maps you drop in the actual Legion mechanic. Because there's so many rares, because there's so many magic monsters, and you're multiplying the loot on them with the Sentinel, it gets pretty out of control pretty quick. I think the average maps you get back from doing a double or triple Legion map with empowerment is like 5 or 6, sometimes even more than that. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, you're going to be getting a lot of cash from that. Okay, so that's the setup there. In addition to that, because you're going to have 2 charges on your Pandemonium Sentinel, you're going to want to go ahead and find some Sextants or compasses with maps containing additional Legion. Now, I bought mine off of TFT, and that's probably what I would recommend. However, obviously, you can roll these yourself. You can buy them individually. You don't absolutely need them. You can run at half efficiency and just get 1 Legion, and sometimes lock into the second one just by using the Atlas passive tree. That's completely fine. I wouldn't fret too much if you can't get your hand on this Sextant, but it won't be quite as juicy as what you're seeing here, but it'll still be pretty juicy. Okay, and then the other 3 Sextants here are just whatever give you more monsters in the map. So you can get like more monsters, you can get barrels, you can get a shrine, you can get anything you want. Anything is fine as long as it's more monsters. That's what you want. Okay, let me talk a little bit about map choice here, because I've tried a few different maps with this Legion setup, and overall I do feel like I've got a pretty good idea of what the ones are the best. Okay, so first up, I tried Beach. Beach is absolutely fantastic, however, it lacks a little bit of space, and space for mobility, like getting to the boss and running past packs. My character doesn't have phasing, so it can be a bit difficult, and in addition to that, it doesn't have enough space for the Legions to fully, get big enough. The Legions scale based on how much room there is, and some of the really big Legions, the 300 to 400 mob ones, there's just not enough room on Beach, and you're going to lose like half of the Legion in a lot of cases, and that sucks. So you need a big map. We're talking maps like, Cemetery, Dunes, Shore. These are really good maps. Next up, if you intend your character to live, you're going to need a map which has a boss that is rushable. Now, this boss needs to be in a location which is somewhat deterministic, which you know where you can go and get to it. And that was the problem with Cemetery. It was perfect. It has a great div card. It's massive. It's got a boss that can be rushed. However, the location of that boss is quite sporadic. It's quite random, and it can be in really bad places. And it can take quite a long time to find it in some cases. And by a long time, I mean like, twice as long as that Dunes map took. Overall, it's not a disaster. If you want the Brother Stash, you can definitely do it. However, I much prefer Dunes due to the fact that there's no terrain, which kind of obstructs you clearing the legions. It's much easier to crack the full legion and not lose any of your empowered mobs. In addition to that, the boss is just very, very easy to find. Finally, I would also chuck Shore in there as well. Shore is a really, really big map. It's got pretty open space, not too many obstructions, and the boss is pretty much always in the same space. Unfortunately, it's a little bit slower to clear than Dunes, but it's still definitely a very good pick. There's certainly a lot of other maps that you could go ahead and try, but you know, stuff like Mud Geyser, traditionally quite good for Legion, is also a little bit underwhelming due to its massive size. It can be good, but also can be bad. The mobs are pretty spread out, which can make empowering them with a red Sentinel kind of difficult. In addition to that, the boss is a pain in the ass. It's pretty hard to find it. So you guys can kind of like make your own call about what map you want. There is quite a few other good options, but basically that's all you're looking for. Boss that you can rush and big open space for Legion. So you could, in theory, go with Jungle Valley, for example. That could be quite good as well. Okay, so that's the map out of the way. There's the Sextants and the Scarabs out of the way. We're just using the normal 8% quant here. You could use Fortune Favors as a Brave, but I don't think it's necessary. You could also additionally use Essence if you want to respec your Atlas passive tree from what I'm about to show you. Okay, so let's move on to Sentinels and Sentinel controllers. First of all, let's cover the controller. Okay, so our priority here is pushing the blue Sentinel to the limit. This is the one which you're going to be able to use twice a map and is also going to net you the biggest gains because you're empowering Legion monsters, which are superior to normal monsters. Okay, so this one here, it's important that it feels good and it empowers as many monsters as possible and gets full charge value. Okay, so the notables we're taking here on the tree are as follows. First of all, we're going to get % chance for Sentinels not to consume charges. I believe the total, there is a 25% chance for the Stalker Sentinel to not consume a charge. You got this one here, 15%, so where is it? It's somewhere here. I know Sentinels 15% charge here, and I believe there's another one for the Stalker Sentinels. Yeah, here. So 25% for Stalker Sentinel not to consume charge. This is very important if you're running very expensive Sentinels, specifically the high value ones, which I described in my not last video, but the video before, like Expedition, Fossil, Sentinel Reward. You're going to want to preserve those charges. And just in the map, I actually preserved 2 charges, which is pretty crazy. And then you also get 25% chance for the Pandemonium Sentinel to also not consume charges as well. It is actually a couple of nodes here. I can't find them. Yeah, so there's the 10% there. And then obviously you also have the 15% here. Very big value, big value. You're going to want to grab that. Okay, next thing you're going to want to pick up is obviously all the QOL stuff for the Stalker Sentinel, but what most people don't take is the QOL for the Pandemonium Sentinel. Now, this is a pretty important one. I've tried not taking this, and sometimes your full Legion doesn't get all of the electricity. You don't get the full value from your Pandemonium, and that sucks. You absolutely want to be taking this. It makes it so it full zaps the Legion, and you get all the charge value. It's really important. Make sure you're taking this, man. It's really, really good. Okay, with that out of the way, you obviously want to take all the Pandemonium juice that you can get. It's really, really good. And you also want to take the extra pack because it's just a little bit extra juice. And then finally, you also want to take, obviously, the additional deployment. It's really, really powerful. Now, I'm just going to quickly address this here. I'm just going to be addressed again later in a future video. But this node, don't take it. It's not good. Some of the most common rewards on the drop table for the random Sentinel rewards are Sentinel Reward and Currency, as well as Divination. These are not things you want to reroll. A lot of the really rare rewards suck. There's only a few of them which are good. So don't reroll this. You're going to lose out on Currency and you're going to lose out on juice. So don't take this. It's bait, in my opinion. Okay, with that out of the way, we now have the Sentinel controller. You guys can take a picture and just basically copy this and modify it as you want. But yeah, I've gone over the important stuff there. Let's talk Sentinels. So for the most part, it's going to be following the advice again from my previous, not last video, but the video before. Go check it out if you haven't already. It's really important. You want to be running high value Sentinels. Make sure you get the juice. Make sure you get like either Sentinel Reward, Fossil Reward, Metamorphosis Reward. Those are all the good ones. Go check the video out. Make sure you're running those. It's a big part of making cash with this strat. Of course, same goes for the Stalker Sentinel. Make sure those Sentinels are juicy and make sure they're good. I'm currently running Expedition and it's big cash. I'll tell you that much. Okay. All right, let's dive into the Atlas passive tree, and then we'll quickly round this video out, shall we? Okay, so the Atlas passive tree, what are we prioritizing here? First of all, we want to block all non-Legion and non-heist map mechanics because it's going to give you a higher chance of getting a free Legion pylon. Now, this is particularly important if you're running without the Legion Sextant because that second Legion pylon is just so much value. It's going to allow you to get full value out of your second Pandemonium charge, which is absolutely imperative. imperative. Now, if you do have this, if you do have the Sextant and you don't feel it's necessary, you could trim off these points here, and you can trim off some of this stuff here if you want. But I would still recommend going with the full Legion Monty, because in some cases you can get 3 Legion pylons, which is just like, that's even better, and you can kind of juice it up that way. Okay. So that's what we're going to do first. You're going to take all map nodes, as I mentioned, hot map sales right now, burning hot. My hands are so burning. Okay, that's how hot we're talking here, dude. Flies off the shelf. Take all map nodes. It's really, really good. I am a singular focus fan. I know everyone's saying it's bugged. Don't at me. I think it's good. I've tested with and without it. I think it's good. That's it. Okay, so of course we're taking some bit of extra juice to give us a bit of faster Stalker Sentinel empowerment. So when you're running through that map, you get out of the way faster. That comes in the form of shrines, this Harbinger node here, as well as the shrine nodes up here. Now these are all completely droppable. If you want to spec into Essence and do a bit of Essence action and you want to go that way, you absolutely certainly can. The reason I'm taking this is primarily because I'm trying to get to 100 and it gives me really good XP. So overall, that is why I'm taking that, but it also does make the Stalker Sentinel a little bit more juicy. Same deal over here. Because I'm using an inspired learning and I'm trying to get XP, I took Beyond. You can drop this, it's fine. Additionally, I am also taking Science. That's because I don't want to roll over or sell the Gilded, Polished, or Rusted Possessed Monster Scarab Sextant when I get it, because I think it's really good money. So I took Science as well. All those nodes are trimmable. You can get rid of them all, and you can also spec all the way out of here and go into Eater Worlds, and that's going to free up about 20 or 30 points, somewhere around that range. You can full spec into whatever you want, and it's going to be pretty good. So the only mandatory stuff is this stuff here, in my opinion. All the Legion nodes, take every single one, and the map nodes. Everything else is, pick what you want. It's completely fine. Obviously have an Eldritch influence going, of course, but everything else is all good. Now, of course, most people don't generally come down here and take this. Now, because we've got pretty damn close to another 40% chance to get a Legion, we take it because we want to get that 3rd Legion. It's so nice. And it's also going to give you 12% chance to duplicate splinters. This is very noticeable. It's essentially 12% more splinters, which is really, really nice. And you will definitely notice that you're going to get stacks of like 20 Marikath off the boss. It's pretty damn sweet. And you also get that 4% down there. It's only a 1 point out of your way as well. So overall, that's pretty good. I would highly recommend taking Protracted Battle down here with the duration nodes, just due to the fact that the Legions are empowered and they are thick. Thick. You will notice that. Okay, so overall, that is pretty much the tree. I take these here because I do roll my own Sextants. If you're just buying all 4, you can drop this as well. So overall, the tree is incredibly flexible. It's basically Legion with map sustain and singular focus. Everything else is flex pick, and it's pretty simple. So you guys can kind of go down and choose your own adventure. I will just quickly do a quick zoom out here so people who want to take a picture can, obviously grab it, and there you go. Okay, so that is the strategy. Let's quickly talk a little bit about money, because you are going to make a truckload of money. Let me talk a little bit about what I've been selling from this strategy overall. So of course you have all of the Eldritch currency, which you're going to get. You have all of the bells and whistles that come from altar boss farming. That's pretty much set in stone. It's the usual stuff. The stuff that you're not used to getting, though, is, of course, emblems. You're going to be able to bulk sell emblems. You'll get a lot of them. I'm talking a lot of them. And you're also going to get a ton of Sentinels. Make sure to do the Sentinel shenanigans, of course, merging, identifying, selling the ones that you don't want, etc. But then in addition to that, you're also going to get a ton of maps. Make sure you sell those. You're going to get a ton of stuff like fossils and a lot of stuff along those lines. I've already sold mine, but make sure you sell those as well. But the main thing I want to talk about here is incubators. Something that people just either don't pick up or don't use. You want to make sure you use all your incubators. Just use them yourself. I'm using 10 Calurgan incubators right now. You're going to get a ton of just miscellaneous incubators. The divination ones drop anywhere between 2 to 4 divination stack decks. So that's already like over 4C from one of these Diviners incubators on average. And then the Calurian ones, they have like a 6.5C on average yield per one that you use. So you can kind of see here, by using incubators and stacking up all the Legion juice and then stacking that on top of Sentinel and then stacking that on top of the Eldritch altars, whoa, that is a lot of currency. Now, of course, this is no joke. The content is not easy. And my character's, pretty good for it. However, I do believe there's better options, like an Omni TS or an Omni Lightning Strike might be better than my character. But even with my character, it can be a little bit of a struggle without using, unfortunately, an inspired learning. Now, Inspired Learning is pretty affordable. Everyone should be able to get their hands on it, and this jewel is going to be quite handy. It can make your character feel like jank, as I described in my last video. However, it's kind of almost a necessity. It's going to make you tanky, and in some cases, it can give you some extra juice, but it's mainly the tankiness, because when the Legion cracks and all the empowered mobs come around you, they don't get one shot like they used to, unless you've got a crazy build. So they're all going to smack you, and if you don't have inspired buffs, you may just get one shot, unfortunately. Now, you could try this without this. It's absolutely not mandatory, but I do think it's a big help. And the difference between having it and not having it is actually me sometimes dying and versus never dying, right? So that's kind of where we're at with that. So overall, that's kind of the strat, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy the Robo Legion strat, because it's absolutely a blast. It's my most fun strat I've had with Sentinels so far. It beats everything else, and you still get all of the benefits of every other strategy we've had before. You get full empowerment from both blue and red. You get all the boss alters, and it's a blast. It's complete dream. There's no friction apart from Echoist on Inspired Learning. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.